Welcome back to Introduction to Visual Art. Every week, I will do a review of last week's lecture. In that review, we will talk about the quiz from last week, and I will just have general notes for the class. And I will also go over the slides. So, in that, we will start with going over the slides. These are the slides from last week, which was essentially just an introduction to the art class, to our class. So we asked, what is art? And have you seen any of this art? In your Instagram feed, your fake Instagram feed, you were to post one of your favorite artworks from downtown Chicago, and those artworks did not have to necessarily be in my lecture. So we talked about the famous Bean, Cloudgate by Anish Kapoor, and we talked about Picasso's statue. Alexander Calder's Flamingo, Dubuffet, Jean Dubuffet, Kwame Plenza, and then I asked you some questions that I then asked you in the quiz. So I'll go over those here in a moment. Why do we make art? I said express ourselves, connect with others, to get others' attention, describing ideas and emotions, to tell history. And then I asked you to write down a list that would ultimately become the answers for the quiz. So why do we study art? That was our next question. These were 5 answers that popped into my head. To know history and learn from the past, to understand culture, to understand how it is made, to understand our ideas and emotions, and to give us different perspectives into viewing the world. Then we talked about Mona Lisa. And we talked about how Mona Lisa has been, this painting by Da Vinci has been a recurring image through popular culture throughout the years. Here. And then what does Kanye West, Kid Cudi, and Louis Vuitton all have in common? It is Takeshi Murakami. That guy in the middle. He designed those bags and these album covers. And he is a world famous artist. That was the end of the first week's lecture. Now, I want to go over the quiz answers. So here we have our first question was name 5 reasons why we make art. And lots of people had lots of different answers, and I, just to illustrate, smashed them down into larger categories. And a lot of people said we make art for connecting with other people. That is the whole point to them, is making connections with others. And to tell a story or history, for self-expression, therapy, mental health. We make art for just being creative, or to entertain ourselves, or to make something beautiful. Hilarious to me is that someone wrote for the money. It is true that famous artists make a lot of money. They make a ton of money. I'm an artist and I do not make any money. Very little money. And most artists that I know are broke. That's why it's funny to have this on here. make people might make art in order to influence other people or to have cultural influence. And people make art to understand themselves. I think a lot of people make art to understand themselves, and maybe it could be collapsed into another uh, area. But I think that that's a really important idea. So why should we make art? The number one answer was to understand cultural perspectives, to our ability to think critically or make sense of the world is a reason to understand art. To understand ourselves, to understand history, see how art is made, to educate ourselves for inspiration, to better appreciate art, become a better artist. So lots of artists, maybe you're an artist, they study art in order to become better artists or be more creative. To understand others, that might be cultural perspectives also, but to understand creative people. Some people aren't creative, they're not artists, and they want to understand that thought process. And people do actually study art for entertainment. I think these were all really great answers. I'm really happy with those. So, our third question was, what day will the museum visit essay be assigned? What day will it be due? What time does it have to be turned in by? The museum visit essay will be assigned on Monday, March 29th. It will be due Sunday, May 9th, before midnight that night. That is the correct answer. And in order to get this correct, you would have had to have looked at the schedule. Now, we have several assignments, and they all have different assignment dates and they all have different due dates. So this was just an example picked out. Make sure you follow the schedule, and I will do my best to get you started. Okay, most weeks there is a Finsta post and short quiz like this one, just so that I know you're following along. By which date should you take the quiz and make the post? The quizzes and Finsta posts are due the same week that they are assigned. They should be turned in before midnight the following Sunday night. That is for every quiz and every Finsta post. Does it make sense to turn in late assignments? Why? The answer is yes, of course it makes sense to turn in late assignments. You should turn in all assignments even if they are late. The most you will lose is 10 points. Some points are always better than none. Keep that in mind. Let's turn to Instagram and take a look at what people turned in for their Finsta posts. Margaret turned in a really great sculpture that I did not show you guys in the presentation by an artist named Louise Bourgeois, Helping Hands. So 1993. This is made of cast bronze, and it's on stone. This is beautiful. If you're downtown, you can find this sculpture if you walk south of Grant Park. So Grant Park is the giant park downtown where they do Lollapalooza and big festivals and stuff like that. And that park has the bean. It has the fountain with the face, with the mouths in the water. It has the Art Institute of Chicago. It's got other sculpture, and this is just south of there. If you just cross the street, you'll be able to find this sculpture. Of course, we've got another vote for the bean. We've got the Dubuffet sculpture in front of the Thompson Center downtown. This is a really great one. This is another sculpture that's in Grant Park that was not in my presentation. This is, I think, an awesome sculpture. Maybe I'll put it in my presentation next time I teach the class. But 106 figures, each at 9 feet and 1,100 pounds. They're cast iron. Grant Park at the intersection of Michigan and Roosevelt Road. This is beautiful. It's right on the corner, but it's absolutely beautiful. So that's great. This is, I will find a picture of this for you guys. But this is a piece that was not in the presentation by the artist Marc Chagall. And if you see this from the street, you see an awning. And it's down a little bit lower than the sidewalk. But there's this awning, and then you have this mosaic there. And it is absolutely beautiful, but I feel like it's difficult to talk about without actually being there. But I think that this was a great selection. So there's this little video. So 70 feet long by 14 feet high by 10 feet deep. This surface is covered on all sides. All right, we've got another one of Agora. I'm sorry, of what? Magdalena Abakanowicz. And then we've got Kwame Plenza's Fountain, another bean. And these are great. If you noticed that your post isn't on here, that means you probably didn't turn it in yet. Get on your Instagram, turn in the posts on your fake Instagram account. This is very important. This is where you get points. So far, I have something like 9 or 10 people of a class of 25 who have turned in this work. If you don't turn in the work, you don't get points. It's important to keep on top of it. And then, if you also notice, I gave a little heart to Caroline's Jean Dubuffet sculpture, and I did not give a heart to Laura's Chagall piece. I haven't graded Laura's Chagall piece. She just turned it in. So if you see a heart, that means I've looked at it. And the grade should be reflected in Blackboard. All right, so wrapping up with one last thing is that we have an assignment assigned this week. It's called the Art of the Day presentation, and so be sure to watch the intro video on that Art of the Day presentation and read the handout. Lastly, when you're all good and ready to go, watch the 2 videos that are posted today. We have chapters 1 and chapter 2. Watch those, take the quiz, post to your Finsta account, and then you are all done for the week.